Hello everyone and welcome to another Thomas video. So today we're going to take a look at Mono Red Bushwhacker deck in Thomas format. So recently I've been kind of approached by a few folks that wanted me to try this deck out. I have seen this on Reddit and have been suggested in my Discord as well as DMs and whatnot. So I want to try this deck out since the rank reset, and it is a very budget-friendly deck. If you dismiss the Mox Opal and Flare of Duplication, you can essentially play this for 0 rare cards. So potentially you could replace the Mox Opal with Mishra's Baubles and Flare of Duplication for potentially like another copy of Voldaren Epicure. So this deck is a little bit all over the place, so it does require a bit of a mulligan since we are playing with a lot of cards that have some requirements to be played. For example, the new card that we got from Power Cube called the Goblin Grenade. This deals 5 damage to any target, but you do have to sacrifice a goblin. Now, how do we get a goblin? Well, you do have the Reckless Bushwhacker, which is a goblin, and you also have a Goblin Bushwhacker, which is also a goblin. But we also have 2 of these cards, Gleeful Demolition and Kuldota Rebirth, which can also produce goblins, so you can lob these cards for 5 damage to anywhere else, preferably opponent's face, to deal 5 damage burn. Now, other cards that have some requirements, you also have Shrapnel Blast, which requires an artifact. We do play a lot of artifacts, such as the Great Furnace, Voldaren Epicure, Experimental Synthesizer, and you also have Mox Opal as well. And lastly, you also have 4 copies of Ornithopter in the deck. The reason why we play Ornithopter is not only is it really good with Bushwhackers, but it allows Reckless Bushwhacker to get in there for the Surge cost instead of playing it for 3 mana. So Ornithopter has a lot of synergy in the deck for that purpose, since it pairs up with the Surge cost of the Reckless Bushwhacker, Mox Opal, Shrapnel Blast, and our Kuldota Rebirth as well. And lastly, we have a copy of a Flare of Duplication. This one is a flex slot. If you don't like this card, you can just replace it with something else. It does have some pretty good synergy, being able to Shrapnel Blast twice or Fire Blast twice, things like that for a lot of damage. But you do need a non-token red creature, which means you have to have either the Voldaren Epicure or either of the Bushwhackers on the battlefield. So having said that, I'm gonna be hopping over to some Thomas Verso 3 to show you guys what that does. So let's hop on there. Alright, that's not good. That is kinda good. So we have 10 damage. This could be 3 damage since we're going first. And we just need a land. This will be a little bit hard to proc though. Fire Blast is never happening because we have a Great Furnace. Alright. Wish me luck. We are playing an actual Pauper deck. Lush Portico. Okay, opponent's playing that kind of deck. Okay, we need to somehow get this out as soon as possible. I don't think I want a Goblin Grenade yet. Yikes. Exploration, so a lot of cards are gonna come down next turn. I guess I have to Gleeful Demolition, since there's a Strip Mine. This way, if I draw land, I can Goblin Grenade for some damage. Okay. Opponent takes 5 and then 10. And then they play another creature. Then they take 3. Since only 5 is gonna survive here, Next turn, they get to block 2 cards, potentially. Or I can just lob this now, and then attack for 5 damage. I think I'm just going to do this, actually. I think we made it. I think we made it. So opponent's playing a land destruction deck. Or a landfall deck. We barely got there. Blood Moon and Magus seems really good. Fire Blast out. We don't want that against the land destruction. Try that. All right. So I could potentially... What the... That's an interesting card. Why would they have that? I could have Great Furnace and then create 3 creatures into... But then that doesn't allow me to Bushwhacker next turn anyways. So I just wanted to be a little bit more greedy and then set up my turns here. So what is my turn? I guess we're just doing this. And then we're going to, I could Gleeful Demolition the orb. But probably not. They do have to sacrifice our land, so... We're gonna go with the Malevolent Rumble into a Gaia's Cradle. I think we just deal a lot of damage here. Yeah, we're just gonna deal a lot of damage with the Bushwhacker. Okay, another Sidecat Cup comes out. Magus. I could be a greedy... I could be a little bit greedy and then go... Nah, I think I should just push for damage right now. Because I think I'm using the Gleeful Demolition on the Zuran Orb. So opponent goes to 7. They play Chalice of the Void. That could be kind of trouble. Then I don't have a turn next turn. So that's gonna be their turn. And then they take 5 damage. No, they take 4. If I do attack, that is. That's not good. Let's say I attack all. I don't think that's a good idea. Well, this is not looking good. So kicking doesn't matter. What we really need is a reckless bushwhacker. Blast zone. I could block this, but I don't think that does anything. The problem is a Azuran Orb. They can sacrifice to gain life. Maybe we did lose because of Chalice and the Azuran Orb. Maybe I should block the 6. Okay, I'll block the 6 now. Mistakes were made. Blood Moon. I think what we're gonna need is like... The Chalice is just single-handedly winning them the game here. I think this is probably a loss. They can just keep sacrificing their lands to gain life. We don't have a ways to beat the Chalice if it comes down. We just have to go fast as possible. I know this hand is a little bit bad, but I have a Blood Moon. I think I should play this out in case a Chalice comes out. There you go. Feels a little bit bad, doesn't it? Especially because our start wasn't the greatest. They got double forest, so might be over. Yeah, bit of a random Chalice in the deck, isn't it? 18 land deck doesn't really feel like an 18 land deck, doesn't it? It definitely doesn't feel like we're playing an 18 land deck. Okay, we do have a Fire Blast. Seems like we kind of have to do that. It doesn't seem like Moxopol is online very often. That could be their only land. They did multi-5. The opponent goes to 9. And they surrender. I'm gonna want some Galvanic Blast in this matchup. And probably that's it. I'm gonna cut a copy of a Fire Blast, a Thopter, Epicure. Since we are going second, maybe we can even cut a copy of a land. Okay. Maybe it's a Spell Pierce? A Force Spike. So opponent decided not to counter the Experimental Synthesizer. So you gotta watch out for Force Spike against that deck. They play Breeding Pool. So this is a land destruction. So this could be another Force Spike. We're drawing a lot of lands. Like I said. Drew 5 lands as an 18 land deck, huh? It looks like this is like a flare. Yeah, it seems like opponent does have a flare here. Galvanic Blast. Yeah, maybe I just shoot opponent's face. It would be nice if I can flare up duplication, but don't really have it. I do not have a creature on the battlefield. That is a red mana card. They are a bit low though. The opponent decided to just use fire magic. I shouldn't have played the land first. That's my bad. A Fire Blast. That's a good one. I could have attacked with a token here, but I am playing around the Spell Pierce right now. Or like double Force Spike. Right, GG's. This is kind of an interesting hand. I can go Bushwhacker turn 1, deal 4 damage. Any top deck would... I feel like this is not that bad. I don't think it's too bad. Like, a good top deck would go pretty hard. Like, any decent top deck. Oh no, that's actually kind of bad. That's actually so bad. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not that. Oh no. So I can't play this because of Surge. Yikes. A preordain. A Chrome Mox. It's kind of bad. Let's see if opponent bites. Nice. Now that does mean that my Mox Opal is now turned off, which is kind of bad. But I thought the 3 goblins should be able to finish opponent off. Yep. I do think the reason why opponent decided to use the Chrome Mox there, by the way, is because opponent does have a mana drain in hand. The only reason opponent used a Spell Pierce there was because wait, what? Oh no. It's a show and tell deck? With the Preordained. Oh no. Oh no. Well, that is pretty bad. I didn't know it was a sneak attack deck. You know what? I'll take it. Wow, so they do even play Mana Drain. I was kind of skeptical whether or not they would have the Mana Drain because I saw Sneak Attack. But they do. With Ancient Tomb as well. Ancient Tomb Mana Drain. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, looks like we're dead. Alright, so looks like we know what opponent's playing. Let's have a Pitting Needle. I think that's it. So what happened there? They play a lot of counter spells. And then we didn't do anything for quite a bit of time, right? Turn 1 was great. The turn 2, we drew a Bushwhacker. Couldn't be played because of Surge. And we didn't do anything, unfortunately. Let's cut like Epicure. Yeah, let's cut 2 Epicures. We still need the Ornithopter because of the Surge. Okay, pretty fast hand. Okay, Great Furnace was a great draw. I was thinking about potentially playing out the Fire Blast here. I was too afraid of a Spell Pierce, but I could have just played a Great Furnace. Shrapnel Blasted. Maybe. Pyroclasm. Well, that ain't good. This deck is very weak to board wipe, by the way, so... So we have 5, 10, 14 damage total if we don't die here. Good chance we just die. We'll see. Okay, seems like we're dead. Okay, not dead yet, but potentially next turn. So we have a 16 damage total, which isn't enough to win the game, so we need something like a Flare of Duplication, maybe. Okay, Len's not gonna do it. Alright, GG's. GG's. Yeah, we're just one off. Darn. So we have a pretty interesting hand. We actually don't even need to, Interesting. Should I see what I get with the synthesizer? I should do it next turn. I'm trying to do this because if opponent has a Static Prisoner, they might be tempted to grab the Mox Opal. Since I have another Mox Opal. Oh, this is really bad. They're gaining so much life. Yeah. Opponent's gaining a little bit too much life here. We're probably dead.
Where shall we hunt today?
All right. They're just gonna make million tokens and gain million life here, so we're dead. Opponent's playing Mardu. I'm gonna bring a Galvanic Blast. And a copy of 2 copies of Blood Moon. I'm not really sure how we win this, honestly. Maybe not even Blood Moon. I had a really insane start, but that wasn't even good enough. This is like, man, right? Like, turn 2, deal some damage. And then 5, 9? Maybe. But it is a turn 1 pass, though. Which isn't good. Okay, that's actually kind of annoying. What happened there? I think Fire Blast is just unplayable in this format. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's playable. I do not think it's a playable card. Okay, that's not a bad card that we just drew. They should have attacked with the Juggernaut, right? Okay, let's deal a lot of damage. Bowmaster, pretty good. So they can block all 4 and take 2 damage. Oh, actually, 4 damage, not bad. They brought Thoughtseize in this matchup. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of things do kill my opponent here, like such as Galvanic Blast, Goblin Grenade.
Nothing is more important than family. It's not perfect, but we have peace. Hunt isn't over until I... To me!
Well, let me tell you, that is definitely not one of them.
Join our cause.
Okay, we go to 1. Galvanic Blast off the top. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we actually got there. Insane. Opponent did miss sideboard, so this now it's gonna be a little bit tougher. And no way to sacrifice these artifacts, so 5 land hand. It's probably going better than mulliganing to 5 because I'm gonna sacrifice a Furnace to the Gleeful Demolition, and then another Furnace to the Shrapnel Blast. Okay, drawing another land was actually pretty bad. Unfortunate. Okay, I think we lost. I don't think I don't see a way out at this point. These are just way too many lands.
To the hunt.
Another rebirth. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass with the mountain up. That other also Pride was pretty good. They could have actually potentially attacked with the also Pride as well. Goblin Grenade. That's 5 damage. I think I have to do this because now they got double also Pride. I need to be able to double block 2 of those creatures. I mean, because opponent did draw a Strip Mine, one of our lands actually became a good 1-for-1. And it does seem like opponent's kind of stuck on mana. Okay, we'll just block all this.
Won't stand with
They had another also Pride.
enemies. To me.
It's kind of insane. The thing is, even if I do kill the Ajani, and even if I do double block these cards, they just have too many creatures, so they can just all attack starting from next turn. So, alright, GG's. It does seem like this is an unwinnable matchup, it seems like. Alright, so there's been a talk about the 8 whack in Thomas format as of recent. I even had like people approaching me, wanting me to try it out. And as you can see, the deck is a bit underpowered. I did flood a little bit today, but that's besides the point. I do think the deck is quite underpowered. Couple things to mention. I do think I think the Mox Opal is quite bad in this deck. A lot of the times the Mox Opal is just a food for Cold Death the Rebirth and Gleeful Demolition, which is not bad, but the Mox Opal's almost never online. We are playing 16 copies of artifacts, but if you take away the Mox Opals, you're actually playing 12 copies of artifact, but you add in the Voldemort Epicures, which is technically like 15 artifacts besides the Mox Opal, which kind of barely supports it, and you've kind of seen it how bad the Mox Opal was. So at that point, right, instead of playing a Mox Opal, maybe playing things like Mishra's Bubble would have been better, but I'm not really sure if that would have changed anything because a lot of the times the Mox Opal just got immediately sacrificed to the Gleeful Demolition or Kuldota Rebirth, things like that. The Flutter of Duplication is a bit cute because this one says you may sacrifice a non-token red creature, which means that you actually don't have that many hits. You have the Bushwhacker and the other Bushwhacker. Then you have the Voldaren Epicure, right? But that's about it. So the Flare of Duplication actually has a very, very small range of targets, so which makes this thing a little bit awkward as well as the Goblin Grenade. The Goblin Grenade doesn't have that many targets either. You have this, especially bad after a board wipe because this is sorcery. So I think the fact that this is a sorcery card makes this card especially unplayable, which is not good. So we have a Flare of Duplication, which is an awkward card, Goblin Grenade, which was also an awkward card, and now, you know, Shrapnel Blast. We are playing 3 Concept, which is also a little bit of an awkward card as well, because at the end of the day, if you sacrifice all your artifacts with Gleeful Demolition and Kuldota Rebirth, you may not have another sacrifice target for the Shrapnel Blast, which also makes this card a little bit awkward as well. And to kind of finish things off, the Fire Blast is also an awkward card in this format because of the Strip Mine. A lot of the times it's very unplayable. So you have quite a lot of cards that are very, very awkward. As you can see, you have so many cards that are super awkward to play, plus the Gleeful Demolition and Kuldota Rebirth. This makes up for a lot of mulligans. So overall, I think the deck is pretty bad. I think the concept is just all over the place. The deck wants goblins, deck wants artifact, deck wants non-token creature, which also clashes with Gleeful Demolition and the Kuldota Rebirth. It's just kind of all over the place, in my opinion. And, you know, Fire Blast, you know, in a Strip Mine format, doesn't work very well either. So I definitely would not recommend this, but it can win a game. It can win a game from a set, but I don't think you can win a set. It is technically a very budget-friendly deck, which is great, I guess. You can even not even play a Flare Duplication for that purpose as well. And like I said, Mox Opal is also, you know, I don't think a very good card in this deck. So you can even replace this for Mishra's Bauble, right? So if you replace this with Mishra's Bauble, voila, you actually don't have a single rare in the deck, which is kind of insane. So I don't recommend this deck, but it is a very budget-friendly deck. So there you have it, a very budget deck. It's not gonna win you much games, but it can steal some games. So yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.